And look, I told y'all on this channel, we hold racist Caucasian people accountable because when we commit crimes, they have no problem holding us accountable. But I told y'all I'm going to be all over this case. And if you're new to my channel, let me catch you up to speed. Run the tape.
Former local corrections officers have between 2 to 4 weeks to consider plea offers in the beating death of Marcy Correctional Facility inmate Robert Brooks.
The offers were extended in Oneida County Court today, and the former COs were there with their attorneys. News Channel 2's Jolene Ferris has your top story.
Robert Brooks' son was in Oneida County Court this morning for the brief appearances of 10 former local corrections officers facing murder and or other charges in the beating death of his father while restrained and in custody at Marcy Correctional Facility in December. He declined to talk with reporters without the family's attorney. He watched as one by one the officers, caught on their own body-worn camera beating or watching his father being beaten, appeared with their attorneys for about 5 minutes each as plea offers were extended. Nicholas Anzalone, top count, murder. Anthony Farina, top count, murder. Michael Fisher, second-degree manslaughter. Matthew Gallagher, top count, murder. Nicholas Gentile, tampering with physical evidence. Nicholas Kiefer, top count, murder. David Kingsley, top count, murder. Michael Mashaw, second-degree manslaughter. Christopher Walrath, top count, murder. And David Walters, second-degree manslaughter.
Well, damn, Marvin Sapp, where you at? TD Jakes, where you at? See, this that real shit that these pastors can't speak on because they work for the CIA. You had 18 prison workers murder Mr. Robert Brooks on video. Only 10 of them got charged. Make that make sense? And how in the hell did these pig-skinned, dog-smelling, racist Caucasians get bail? How do they get to go home? But you arrest a black man, he gets no bail. But we'll talk about that later on in this video. In the meantime, let's get into this article and break this shit down. And this article is by Observer Dispatch. It was published March 31st, 2025. So that was Monday. Marcy correction officers stand before a judge for a pretrial conference in Brooks' case. And this was just a pre-trial conference. 5 out of the 10 correctional officers had been previously charged with second-degree murder and first-degree manslaughter. Others had been charged with second-degree manslaughter, and one had been charged with tampering with evidence. All 10 officers pleaded not guilty. And look, this the crazy part. You will not see this outside New York. You will not see this on the news. They will not show you that. But everywhere else, they gonna show you the Crips getting arrested, or Rico on the Crips. They gonna show you Lil Durk getting arrested. They gonna show you P. Diddy all over the news. It's gonna make everything. It's gonna be on Disney Channel. It's gonna be on TikTok. It's gonna be on YouTube. It's gonna be everywhere. But when cops unalive, when COs, when prison workers murder black men, you will never see this on national news. They will not show it. Make it make sense. And then when this happened, now everybody want to whisper. Now you want to go to court. Now you want to hide all these news coverage. No, we go show everything. It's 2025. We ain't letting nothing slide. As with any criminal court case, the defendant is offered a plea deal before the case goes to trial. The defendant chooses whether or not to take the deal, which usually results in a lesser sentence than the possible sentence if convicted. The Robert Brooks case is no different. The 10 correctional officers received the contents of their plea deal at the pretrial conference and will return to court at the later date and declare whether or not they accept it. So look, let me get this straight. You telling me it took y'all almost 3 months to charge these racist COs, and once you charge them and bring them to court, they made bail only minutes after their court appearance. Make it make sense. And not just that, this past Monday, they show up back to court, and you just give them the opportunity, you give them time to accept a plea deal. Make that make sense. Where they do that at? If that was us, we have to accept that plea deal right then and there. They give us 2 days, but you giving them multiple weeks to accept a plea deal? Make it make sense. They get to go home back to their family. Robert Brooks' family never gets to see him again. They unalive, they murdered this man on video. That's why I can't wait until our people start to learn who the real enemies are. I can't wait till our people stop unaliving each other, stop harming each other, and we focus on the original haters, the AKA the KKK, the AKA the racist Caucasians. And this the cold part. If it wasn't for people that was marching every week for Mr. Robert Brooks, they would have never been charged. If it wasn't for YouTubers, multiple YouTubers, including myself, making videos about this case, they would have never been charged. Make that make sense? So in my opinion, those officers, all 18 of them, the officers and the nurses, all of them, they deserve the same treatment that Mr. Robert Brooks got. Forget prison, forget jail. They deserve to be handcuffed. They need the same treatment. Because I'm getting very tired of people being loud and judgmental when black people commit crimes, but very quiet and nonchalant when these KKK members murder our people while they handcuffed. Make it make sense. So that's why I'm so hard on these CIA black pastors. They so focused on money and material things instead of showing up for our people, instead of using their platform to speak up for our people. Matter of fact, this the way our so-called pastors talking these days. Run the tape.
At 58 years of age, if I don't drive a certain kind of car, there's a problem. That means I tricked off my money.
But you worked hard for it.
I work and still work hard.
And on tour and getting on planes. And
absolutely. Planes, trains, automobiles, hotels, motels, holidays.
And
rehearsals.
And singing and preaching on Sundays. And rehearsals and writing the song and producing and the hours and hours in the studio. Yeah, you worked hard for that. And what was your number one hits?
My number one hit was Never Would Have Made It.
Yeah. Never Would Have Made It.
48 weeks at number one.
Yeah.
48 weeks of number one. When it first came out, I sold 4 million ringbacks and ringtones.
Come on, man.
4 million.
Yeah.
Y'all do the math.
And yeah, you heard them right. Using God's name to manipulate and rob your own people. The game is cold. And look, I'm going to say it with my chest. The black church is not for us. Because you got real shit that's going on out here, and just bringing awareness to these families can help them. Just showing them that you have their back. You have some families that's fighting these evil hospitals. Imagine a doctor unalive your fiance on purpose, and there's nothing you can do about it. The black church can come in and help these families fight. Where is the black church? That's all I'm saying. But like I always tell y'all, to my black people, we see the play now. We have to have our own backs because everybody else on the same team. So we have to be on the same team. Everybody else against us, they on the same team. I don't care who they are. The pastors, the doctors, the hospitals, the cops, the investigators, the DA, the judges, the lawyers. All of them on the same team against our people. The news outlets, they all on the same team. They will never give the right information to help our people. They will always help the cops cover up some shit. Look what's going on in Georgia with those twins that was unalive. The news ain't gonna give you what's really going on. They ain't gonna give you no real updates. Look at Angie Stone. They ain't gonna give nobody no updates. They gonna just move on with life like this shit never happened. I'm telling y'all, I always tell y'all, the game is cold. Their goal is to keep us divided, dumb, and asleep. And it's time for us to get out of this victim mindset and start exposing shit and start standing on business. And to you black pastors, we have no time to talk about that old shit. It's stuff going on right now that you can talk about. It's black mothers being unalived on purpose by doctors, hospitals, and nurses on purpose while in labor. It's black men being handcuffed and being beaten to death on video. You can talk about that. We don't want to hear about that old shit. We got shit going on right now. The people need your voice. The people need your platform. The people need you to bring awareness. Because if the black church starts speaking on real shit, that's going to change the hood. If you start telling the black women in church, look, you got to watch out for these doctors. They really don't like black people and they will murder you on purpose. If you told them that, everything would change. If you talk to young men the real way and say, look, it's dudes getting beaten to death while handcuffed. If you speak up for Mr. Robert Brooks' family, come on, bro. You know the impact that'll have if all these black churches would start speaking on things that's going on in our community instead of having YouTubers have to take the place of pastors and talk this real shit. And look, this whole month, these cowards will be in court all throughout April. So we have to stay on top of this case because they want us to forget about this. That's why it throws so many distractions at you. They got a RICO on the Crips because they want you to forget that 18 correctional officers, prison workers, unalived and murdered Mr. Robert Brooks on video while he was handcuffed. They don't want you to remember that. They want you to forget it, or they want you to stop caring. We have to stop moving on and acting like this stuff never happened, because if we keep moving on and allowing this to happen, it's going to continue to happen. And look, this is the last thing I'm going to say. It's time we start holding these black pastors accountable. They bring in $19 billion a year in the black church. So if a YouTuber can get on here every day and bring awareness, a YouTuber with a gap in his mouth, a YouTuber that has a stuttering problem can get on here and bring awareness for our people, these pastors, these black pastors have no goddamn excuse. So rest in peace, Mr. Robert Brooks, and to you, Marvin Sappy. Speak up for your people. The time is now. I'm out.